NATO has admitted that civilians were killed in an airstrike on a Tripoli suburb on Sunday. Gaddafi officials say 2 babies were among the 9 dead. It's the first time the alliance has conceded responsibility for civilian deaths, although Libya's health ministry claims more than 800 people have died in 3 months of air attacks. Maria Fanoshina reports now from the capital Tripoli. You may find some of the images disturbing.
Mohammed al-Harari's extended family used to be one of the biggest in the neighborhood. A NATO bombing killed 5 of them: his father, one of his brothers, a sister and her own family. Mohammed shows us the picture of little Jumana, his niece, taken on his mobile phone just days before he pulled her dead body from under the debris.
I woke up when I heard an explosion. Some stones, a piece of the roof fell on me. I ran immediately to see how my family is, and many were dead. My mother survived. Another brother is in a coma, and we don't know when or if he will recover.
The Al-Hararis are not rich. They've been living in the Sugujima district in Tripoli. It's home to many average-income people, most from one family. This is just a regular city quarter, quite densely populated, built-up area. This is what used to be the Al-Hararis' house. The 2 3-story buildings are reduced in ruins in just moments after being hit in a missile strike. Omar, Mohammed's brother who survived, says they will never forgive or forget what NATO has done to them, destroying their lives and homes.
They should take responsibility for their wrongdoing.
And NATO has responded with an apology.
The intended target during last night's airstrike in Tripoli was a military missile site. However, from our initial assessment of the facts, it appears that one weapon did not strike the intended target due to a weapons systems failure.
Although officials in Tripoli claim more than 800 civilians have died in NATO raids, the 9 people they say were killed in Sunday's bombardment of the city have become the first civilian casualties officially acknowledged by the alliance.
As the U.S. embarks on a 3-month military action in Libya, NATO admits to civilian casualties, and the nation's feelings over the U.S. role become more divided. Brian Becker of the Answer Coalition says current military action is concerning.
While it's under the guise of protecting civilians, that's what Resolution 1973 authorizes, it's clearly designed to overthrow the government in Libya.
Becker is part of a growing number of Americans and activists who are speaking out against NATO air bombing campaigns over Libya.
They want in Libya to have a government that functions as a client or a proxy of the Western powers. So it's about oil and it's about power. It's about both, because the U.S. wants to control.
In recent days, the White House has come under harsh criticism from lawmakers who don't believe the U.S.'s sanctioning in Libya is legal. U.S. involvement in Libya is largely responsible for air raids, logistical support for NATO, and providing aid and support to anti-Gaddafi forces. Meanwhile, the Obama administration says the president doesn't need congressional authorization for involvement in Libya because the U.S.'s role is not significant enough. Experts say Libya is costing the U.S. $10 million a day, and already Democrats and Republicans jointly filed a lawsuit with a federal court declaring the president in violation of both the Constitution and the War Powers Resolution.
We have drone strikes that are going on in Libya. We have probably people on the ground from the CIA in Libya. We have personnel helping outside of Libya. People are getting killed, bombs are being dropped. That's hostilities as far as I'm concerned.
This week, activists are planning to meet with individual Congress members to discuss the U.S.'s future in Libya.
President Obama went over the heads of 2 of his most senior lawyers on this exact issue, a lawyer in the Pentagon and a lawyer in the Department of Justice. And they seem to think that this is war.
Others are participating in a speaking tour to expose some of the underreported aspects of the Libyan conflict. Colin Campbell, Press TV.
Personal story segment tonight on June 7th. Chicago rapper Lupe Fiasco, who is promoting an album, called President Obama a terrorist. Now, we're used to irresponsible statements from rappers, but that's really over the top. So I invited Mr. Fiasco on The Factor to discuss it. What do you mean President Obama is a terrorist?
My fight against terrorism, to me, the biggest terrorist is Obama and the United States of America. To put it into context, I was asked about a song that I did called Words I Never Said, which addresses terrorism. I really think the war on terror is a bunch of bull. So the statement that I made, which was, I believe that the biggest terrorist, Obama and the United States of America and its foreign policy, that was what the whole, context of everything was. And it was really just an expression of me trying to, I guess, understand critically, the society.
President Obama is not a terrorist. He's trying to do what he believes is the right thing to do. The United States is not a bad nation. It's a noble nation. We're trying to defend ourselves against people who killed us on 9/11. And then you go out there and you talk to a lot of younger people, and this is what gets me. That your constituency are not exactly political science PhDs, okay? They're impressionable kids.
I don't think that matters. I don't think you need to have a political PhD to understand politics. To understand politics, I don't think you necessarily need that. And I don't think that politics are as complex as people like to make them seem or out to be. Richard Nixon said that, they reduced fear by reducing the causes of fear. And in that same interview, which I spoke about, calling Obama a terrorist and every president before and after him a terrorist, right, is that if you're going to fight terrorism, right? Yeah. True terrorism, weaponized fear. In defense of ourselves, we're actively fighting something else. But if you're going to fight terrorism, to me, you fight the root causes of terrorism.
The root causes of terrorism are many. Okay, they are varied. It depends region to region and all of that. The United States cannot cure ills in the world. What the President of the United States' responsibility is to protect you and me. That's his responsibility. And he's doing it through aggressive action. So, Navy SEALs kill bin Laden. You okay with that?
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Tuesday, June 21st, 2011, and I'm Darko. This is part 3 of this news bulletin for today. Welcome and thank you for joining me. My website is www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. Check out this poll. And just a quick comment on that video you just saw. What do you think about bin Laden, Delta Force? Well, my personal opinion is that Navy SEALs probably weren't even in Pakistan at that time. I think the whole thing was just CIA and PSYOP, and I saw and heard reports of Pakistanis that lived there, and they said that there was no man or no bin Laden there that lived there. They knew that area, and they said that he was not there. Hey, my personal opinion is it never even happened. The guy's been dead for 7 years. And either way, he was a CIA asset. So, I mean, it's not like they're going to go in there and kill him. If they do, they just do. It'd be the same thing with Saddam Hussein. That was their boy. That was their man. And then they took him out, just like Gaddafi. That was their man. They supported him. They funded him. So, like I said, my personal opinion is that if it wasn't Navy SEALs, I think Navy SEALs is a big show. It's for show. It would have been Marine Recon or Delta Force, Green Berets and that. That's who would have done it. But the whole thing's a lie. The whole thing's a sham. And unfortunately, that individual had to be interviewed and speak with Bill O'Reilly. He doesn't interview. He just railroads. All right, Libyan rebels cut off oil pipeline to Tripoli. Why? Well, that's what the Western powers are going for. They want their oil, and they want to take out their central bank. Here we go. Libya resolution. Kerry, McCain introduced bill authorizing U.S. involvement. 2 top senators are pushing a resolution authorizing a limited role for the U.S. military in Libya. I guess limited means you can still bomb them and have intelligence on the ground. It says here, UK's Cameron insists military backs Libyan mission. And they pretty much said that they're going to see it out to its conclusion. And just remember right here, this is McCain and Kerry. This is a possible Skull and Bones member, and this is a Republican, right? This is a Democrat and a Republican binding together to keep the war going, to keep the war machine and the dollars flowing. That just says it all right there. Is Obama's Libyan attack legal or not? Well, go check it out. The link will be posted. I want to get through this video with the rest of the articles on the Middle East and the war on terror and liberty and a little bit of Big Brother. So you can go in there and check that out. But he's talking about here Obama playing these stupid word games. No, it's not a war. It's kinetic military action, just like we were just talking about. White House warns of Libya funding measures. The White House warned Monday that attempts in Congress to choke funding for all parts of the U.S. operations in Libya would send a bad message at a time when Muammar Gaddafi's days were numbered. And that's what they said, what, a month ago, 2 months ago? Kerry, McCain seek to counter Libya war defunding efforts, and that's what we pretty much just covered. 7 killed in Syria as protests turned violent. Syrian President Bashar Assad's effort to drown out pro-democracy protests exploded in clashes between government supporters and opponents Tuesday, and security forces opened fire, killed 7 people, including a teenager and an activist. And I guess the reports that I've been seeing, too, is that they're not completely peaceful protesters out there. Syrian president grants new amnesty, says Assad has reportedly granted a new general amnesty, while a huge crowd took to the streets nationwide to support the president. According to Syria's Arab news agency, Sana, the Syrian president, on Tuesday issued a decree granting general amnesty for crimes committed before June 20th. And it said on the 31st of May, Assad had ordered a general amnesty for all political prisoners, including Muslim Brotherhood members. Those Muslim Brotherhood, that's going to be the possible new political party besides El Baradi in Egypt, and I believe that it's Western-backed as well, just like what Al-Qaeda. It says here, Assad addresses protests, blames conspirators again, and saboteurs, Turkish choppers over Syria, NATO boost Izmir base, and Syria is on the docket with Iran. For the new American project for the new American century. So whatever happens, whatever you're told, it's complete bull or horse shit, whatever you prefer, because this has all been planned for the past 20, maybe even longer, 100 years ago, 60 years ago, when they were moving Iranians, leaders back in the 50s, the Shah and that, installing their little puppet dictators and that. It's all part of a plan. It's all part of an agenda to basically take out the sovereignty of these individual countries that are oil-rich, that have been pretty much sovereign for the most part. So you have Turkey working in unison. Israel, Turkey hold secret talks. And we have Turkey moves to expand NATO airbase. So there you go. Just moving the chess pieces. Karzai, Afghanistan, U.S. and peace negotiations with Taliban. Obama likely to cut 10,000 troops from Afghanistan. They're going to come home, they're going to rest up, and they're going to send them back out to the Middle East, because that's what they've been doing. Maybe they'll blow off a few bombs from dropping from helicopters in Iraq, and then we can go back to Iraq. Pew Research, record of support for Afghan troop withdrawal, and peace in Afghanistan a long way off, says Australian DM. U.S. raid kills civilians in Afghanistan. And then we have French attack kills 5 Afghan civilians. U.S. drone attack kills 12 in Pakistan. Pakistanis stage anti-U.S. demonstration. Well, yeah, I wonder why. Each day, 18 U.S. war vets commit suicide. And then you can check that out. It's actually a video, but just for time's sake, I have to skip it. Many U.S. vets suffer from lung problems. That's mostly due to Iraq and all that fallout and stuff and debris that was blowing around. Tunis court sentenced Ben Ali to 35 years. Then we have quick news, U.S. involved in too many conflicts, says a poll. Bosnians urge expulsion of U.S. forces. That's in Iraq, of course. Pakistani women's views on the burqa. And it says that it's not Pakistani law that they're required to wear them. They said many are forced to veil themselves, and many are increasingly choosing to veil themselves. And you go down here, and it says that Aziz, a woman, added that she covers herself because she feels more comfortable and are more comfortable veiled in public. And another student said, any country has a right to protect its national interests, but women also have the right to choose how they live their lives. Girl escapes suicide vest in Pakistan. It goes down here and says that this is very rare in Pakistan to have children suicide bombers, especially females. And it said that Reuters could not verify this story. So could be propaganda, I don't know. Police, it could have happened, but it could have happened a different way than we're being told. Police could take fingerprints of women who wear burqas. So there you go. Medvedev says he wants to see Obama re-elected. Ouch. And then senior officials killed in Russia crash, just like the Polish crash. Fresh violence rocks Belfast, Ireland, and airline apologizes after quadriplegic forced off flight. Then college football player kicked off flight for wearing baggy pants. Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous because of a little fascist stewardess. I tell you, this female stewardess, I'm sorry if you're one, but you guys are some fascists, man. Lawmakers to reconsider criminalizing airport pat-downs. And Perry for president, Rush Limbaugh thinks so. And why? Well, he's pushing for this whole bill to criminalize airport pat-downs. And you know what? It's never going to happen. If it does, it'll get repealed. He'll maybe win the presidency. Right? Pentagon bomb scare. Is the suspect a lone wolf terrorist? Well, maybe. Maybe he was funded by the FBI and raised up like the Christmas Day bomber and the Christmas tree bomber and all that. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.